practice?
Yeah, just go over each other.
That's good.
Or I'm going like around the good shot.
Yeah. I think that stuff will clean the master is pretty good, so.
Yeah, it's pretty. I haven't gotten shit. I've been having like cuts and stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't got anything infected.
Alright. Cool, let's do this. I kind of want to talk about some of this stuff.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Elliot here, On Home Fitness. I got Josh Abear with me. Young, aspiring mixed martial artist in the making. He's got 15 years of wrestling, just like me. He wrestled from when he was a wee child all the way until, you know, high school, and then went to college and didn't wrestle, but went to work and went to college, and now he's pursuing his dreams of MMA. So he's gonna be helping me with some demonstrations. First thing I want to talk about, and everybody kind of, you know, when it comes to wrestling and MMA, the double leg and the single leg. So kind of want to talk about the concepts between the two and how I approach both of them. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with the single leg snatch like everyone else does. It's a low risk move, besides from having to put your hands down and not protect your chin. But single leg is, you know, somewhat less risk. You know, you can kind of hide your head, and it depends on what type of single leg you go for. So for right now, my favorite one to kind of practice is the single leg snatch, and you can do it out of any stance. It doesn't matter. You can go in and snatch the single from any stance. Okay, if I'm in orthodox or if I'm in southpaw, I find it easier in the open stance with the south orthodox versus southpaw to fake up and grab the lead leg with my lead leg forward. I find it just way easier to do because it allows you to end up with your head on the inside most of the time. So if I'm here, what I like to do is I like to hand fight here. I like to put 1, 2, and maybe a 3, and then as I'm doing the 3, I'm changing levels. 1, 2, 3. And I'm snatching the leg. Okay, now once I have the leg, what I want to do is I want to control the knee and the ankle. And from here, I want to put shoulder pressure down into the quad, but I really want to put shoulder pressure in here. Like, more like this, okay? Try to attack something. What would you do, a wizard most likely? Attack a wizard. All right, so from here, what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to get him to go backwards on that foot. So if I gotta go forwards, and then when I go back, I'm gonna put pressure down on the quad, and I'm gonna step back, and I'm gonna set him on his butt, and I wanna stay standing. I wanna stay standing right here. So as I go for this takedown, controlling the knee and the elbow and the ankle, shoulder pressure down, and sit him back. I'm gonna step back with this leg, and I wanna sit him on his butt with the shoulder pressure down. And where I'm landing is I wanna land with the leg still here, and I want to start to work in this pass, but I want to end up with knee on belly, and I don't want to end up in the closed guard. To me, going for a takedown and end up in the closed guard is more of a fail than anything. Half guard, not so bad. A lot of people say, hey, you're crazy, you're just laying ground and pound. Yeah, but there's a little bit of risk in there with those triangles and arm bars. So for a wrestler, it's something that I'm trying to understand what works from wrestling and what doesn't. So that's how I would, you know, go about my single leg takedowns. Obviously, there's a ton more finish. Say if you get the single, I like to, a good detail on the single is, whenever I go down and snatch, it's just that. I gotta get the knee on my chest with the 2 arms around it and pull it towards me. That kind of throws him off balance a little bit. Then I can start to work the pressure down and addressing the knee and the ankle with my hands. And I want to control the knee, put with my shoulder down on the leg. Basically, I got the foot on top of my quad with my hand. My ribs are pushing on the knee, and my shoulders pushing on the top of the leg. And as I'm taking this sit back, I'm stepping back, dropping him on his butt, and I want to Indy on belly. That's my favorite single leg takedown. It never happens in a fight just because I don't shoot in a fight. But if I'm really going for a takedown with trying to stay as minimal risk, that's one thing that I like. So Josh, go ahead and try it on me. I'm gonna give Josh here about 30% resistance. He's gonna give me 70%. And I'm gonna go with this takedown and we're gonna work a drill. Nice and relaxed. All right. Now you're 30%, I'm 70. Stand up. Go again. Nice and easy, snatch back. Hold up, hold up. So your head here, your head, first thing you did was put it in the hornet snatch. That's a no-no, okay? So head up. This is somewhat okay right here for a half a second, boom, all right? That's, as long as they're not turning their shoulders while you're coming in, you're pretty much gonna be able to hit and grab and pull back. Okay, you like to get a little bit better than just the hands. I like to get wristy. But really getting that, boom, forehead on them, really let you get into position to start this move here. And you're into your ground and pound. So nice and easy, snatch the leg, pull it back towards you, take a step back, and set me down. Okay. Nice. Ground and pound. All right, nice and easy. All right, so now that's one of the finishes with the single leg. Let's go over a couple other ones. All right, so as we're here, we're hand fighting. 1, 2, 3. I'm changing levels. I'm getting to my knee. And he knows that I like to throw this down and go back. So maybe he defends different and starts to turn away. Turn away, the other way. And what I do when this happens is, worst case scenario, I control the knee. And I put the knee on the mat with my shoulder. This gives him very little striking leverage. Trying to strike from here, I mean, he may be able to, but it's no real leverage here. So the reason why these guys are dominating in this position with this single leg is they're putting the knee on the mat, and then from there they're grabbing it with their other hand, and then they're grabbing the waist, and they're climbing to the hip, from the knee to the hips, then they're taking the hips, and they're climbing up, obviously. But that's one of the takedowns that I like. So if I go in for my single leg, I grab, this isn't working, we get buried down on this wizard, and I'm just climbing the leg. I want to pull this leg into me. So if you can see here, I got this, I'm starting to lock this leg and sit on it. And then I'm putting pressure on the knee, and I'm using my forehead to balance his pressure here. I'm keeping my forehead on him to where he can't really gain a lot of leverage on me. See how deep I am on this leg? Basically what I'm doing is I'm sitting on the single leg. And then now I'm taking my shoulder, my hands are on the knee, on top of the knee. And this is important, you don't want to be below the knee, you want to be above the knee. Now I'm using my shoulder to push into his quad here, into the hip. And I'm going to drive that shoulder down to bury his hips into the ground. As soon as I get that, I want to grab onto the hips. And then from there, I can start to sweep the knee. And I want to put pressure on the knee. Everything's pressure. So basically from my feet to my calf is grabbing the knee here. I'm putting this knee down with my pressure in my chest on the outside of the quad. And what I'm doing is I'm securing the hips. And I'm pushing down with both. I'm pulling in with this arm and I'm pushing down his leg, stapling his knee, pushing in and driving forward to make this complete, to flatten him out, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm using all the pressure, every pressure point. So as I go forward, as he tries to escape, I may have to drop my pressure down to my hips more. And so that's just part of it. It's recognizing the push and pull between which way they want to go and which way you want them to be. So Josh, what I want you to do is I'm going to go ahead and defend the bow, which is the sit down. I'm going to whizzer and bury the knee, and I want you to climb the knee. Okay. Climb the knee. Yep. Hook it, bury it. Start the hips here. Other hand. Yep. Yep. Now lock hands and pressure hard, hard. Go ahead and push with your shoulders. Good. Good job. Flatten me out. All right, now from here, good finish. Let's get to the middle. Same, hold that position. Go ahead. All right, now from here, you can basically take this arm and go up to my shoulder here and start to work. And you want to get to the other side and finish a very simple arm triangle. You're going to put your ear to my ear, shoulders on the mat, chest on the mat, hips on the mat, flat, flat, super flat. No, S grip. S grip. That means fingers to fingers right here. And then down hard and shoulder pressure in and squeeze with the biceps. And if you have to, lean all your pressure here and step back with your right leg behind your left leg. That's better. But you really want to push this ear on this arm. You got it. Yeah, you got to keep this arm closed. That's good. All right, thanks, Josh. All right, cool, good job. Now we're on to the next thing. The next thing I want to talk about is kind of like my double leg. My double leg, not set up, my finish. I guess the concept behind the way I look at a double leg. Okay, a double leg, sometimes, I'm not talking about a blast double where it's last resort and you got to fish out, you got to just drive through the guy. I'm not talking about that. If you want to learn how to do that, go watch tackling videos. Go watch how to tackle in rugby or football because they'll teach you how to do that. And you know, not that the blast double, it's just not, in my opinion, a well thought out technique because of just the head placement and stuff. So I want to kind of go over some things that I like to use against people who guillotine and just people in general. You know, I have, you know, I've had a pretty rough learning curve from wrestling. Had built in some bad habits, and guillotine was one of, getting guillotine was one of them, along with triangles and arm bars and you name it. You know, we put our arms out and, you know, ridiculous stuff. So, but we do have good takedowns. So one thing that I've used, I've found a way to gain top position without landing up in a guillotine. And sometimes if you do, we'll go over the guillotine defense too. Coach Tim Crater taught me this before one of my fights, and I used it and it works. So we're gonna do it. All right. So he actually sent me, all right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about this double. I want you to come right here, Josh. All right, what I'm trying to do here is I have to change levels, okay? And I don't wanna go down to a knee, but I do wanna change levels quite significantly. And before I change levels, I want to put 2 hands in the face. And really what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to time it to where I can get you, and I know you're gonna, whenever I do this, you're gonna go like this. Yes, and that's my goal, is to get your hands here and get you stepping back. So as I go to do here, because I throw hard punches sometimes, whenever you get the non-hard punches and you're waiting for them, you're like, ugh, for 1 second, and that's when I like to change levels. So when I'm changing levels here, I don't want to put my head on the outside. 1, 2, boom, down. And then I'm in this tackling position, I like to call it. Okay, so from here, what I'm gonna do is, as I drive forward, and really this is too far. I wanna be, so as I come here, and I'm in on my double, okay? I've got access to both knees here. All right, but what I wanna do, depends on how tall my opponent is. I want to start elevating about right here. As I come in, boom, I'm looking to elevate and make contact like the top of the abdominals. I'm not trying to hit the sternum. Oh, that's a good spot too. I really want to hit the top of the abdominals at the solar plexus. And I really want to make him, boom, yes. Make his head kind of go forward, his knees to come forward, and his body to go back. When his chest goes back, it's going to make his momentum do that. So I just want to give a little bit of a forehead bump as I'm coming in. Now, be careful, okay? If he's got his one arm like this and he's a guillotine master, all right, I don't know if you're gonna want to go in for this double leg, okay? If you know your opponent, all right? If it's a guillotine master, you may not even want to do a double leg, but you know, for the most people, they may not know you're a good wrestler. But so from here, I've obtained the knees, I've given him the bump I need to get him away from the guillotine. Basically, as soon as I make this bump, my leverage comes with my knees, and I'm on both hands. Now that I have this knee up, I can turn this way to finish. or I can drive through him for a somewhat of a blast, but what I like to do is flare, double leg flare. So here we're gonna go and talk about it. As I'm going down, I don't want my knee to be more than a forearm length apart. And so, but the important thing is not this lead leg, although it is important, it's this leg, okay? As you're coming down into change level positions, you can bring this leg forward. And this will give you significant amount of power to drive through the opponent. So as you come in here, you gotta really take your hands, drive down, boom. And so as you're coming, basically I'm on to make contact with the forehead, and I have this leg following me, boom. And so as I'm hitting with the leg, I'm flaring out with the legs. And I would like to land in knee on belly instead of side control, but it's not always the case. So go ahead, Josh, and give me a nice double leg flare. Good hands, good level change. Lower, back up. Maybe get lower, drop your levels. You taught me this. Show me how you taught me.
I step in between the legs.
Yeah. Head up. But I need you to keep your hands higher this time.
Right.
And then, yeah.
Foot.
Nice. Let's get it live here. Nice. See? So the only thing there, Joshy, is your guillotine, right? To your head. Go ahead, try it. Do it again. Beautiful. Better. Much better.
So it's for that pop you're talking about?
Yep. So on the pop, and you have to time the pop. You don't want to just dive in there with your skull and ram into the person's body, okay? As I'm changing this level, I'm waiting to come up. And as I'm coming up, boom, I want to make contact with them about right here, okay? And as I'm coming up, boom, I'm also grabbing the legs. And I'm going to flare. Depending on which way he defends, is depending on which way I flare. So come in, I'm gonna give you, and as I change levels, kind of start to defend a little bit. It just depends. If he goes to get a wizard on one side, I'm just flipping it, using that underhook. As soon as he grabs a wizard, I'm taking him down. Sometimes you get the double, you go one way, you gotta go the other. Sometimes you pick him up and go over your head. Let's try that. So I'm here, he gets a good sprawl on it, and I'm up and over, champion style, and trying to get the champion and be on top. And what I mean by champion is if, for say, he goes crazy, and I gotta flip him over my head, right? It's champion. Over the top. Over the top. Just either way, over the top, one way or the other. So going for your double, and I'm gonna defend. Right, you get up. Beautiful. More knee on belly.
Yeah. More than top.
So this is what I like here. I like to keep my forehead up. When I'm changing levels, I want my spine to be the same. Then I kind of lean forward. As I'm coming in, and I'm bringing this leg with me to make that. See how I'm bringing this leg forward? Boom, that's my power. So I have to bring the leg with me when I go to do my shot. And I'm really putting my forehead here, legs flare. And I'm trying to be knee on belly. So you take it from center. Same thing. Okay, there you go. Good legs. You gotta get this leg out of the way. Push. Now you can mount. Your arm to the side. Down. All right, good job. All right, guys, thank you for that. That was a double leg flare. We're gonna go over a few other details here in a second, but for right now, I got a very, very special guest I want to introduce, Mr. Hank Abear. And Mr. Hank For y'all that don't know, Mr. Hank's been a part of the wrestling community in Louisiana for about 25 years now. He was one of the original coaches of the Character Youth Wrestling Program, which turned into the Cajun Youth Wrestling Program, which turned into the Rebel Youth Wrestling Program after he started the Turlings High School Wrestling Program back in 2003. My dad, Hank A. Bear, this is his shed. What's up, Hank?
What's up? I'm here to watch. Yeah.
You here to watch?
Yeah. I just came to check you guys out.
Thank you for having us.
Huh?
Thank you for having us.
I'm looking forward to getting back in shape and working out with you guys and let y'all teach me now.
Awesome. Excited. Thank you. Cool deal. All right, Josh. What you want to work on?
You want to do more wrestling?
Yeah. Or it doesn't matter. We can work on your kicks if you want.
Yeah, really. I would like to work on kicks and
Let's
damage.
do kicks.
That's not live, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, it's not live, but it's on camera. It's on camera. Good.
Small gloves?
Whatever you want. Let's fight. Let's get some. Actually, put on these. Oh, you got some boxing gloves that are a little bigger? Actually, what are your yellow ones?
Okay.
Any mouthpiece.
What y'all doing now?
Fucking fight, yeah.
What's the
We're gonna do some easy.
face?
He's been practicing, so we're gonna do him some
Where's,
drills. We're gonna get him some drills.
Tyrone and Shaq and
I know, right? It is. Help me. I need him. I need somebody to help me put the bathroom up.
Nobody hit the edge in this thing yet?
I feel pretty good. People kind of been cautious, you know.
Yeah.
It's a new environment, so you don't want to go crazy.
Yeah.
Let me put on some 3-minute props.
I was thinking, I think we talked about that. I think the best fix is just trim everything and make the edge of the mat, the edge of the platform. Trim everything and have the mat sit on top of the, yeah, right. That way you just raise everything up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Daddy's been home, Jeff?
He just left like 2 days ago, I think.
Back to Texas.
He went offshore.
Sure.
He said he's the last one of.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Last several weeks.
So he's kind of. It says it's been kind of crazy, but like. Yeah, I mean, as long as he's. He said he doesn't feel too like. He said he feels okay where he's at.
But
And you never know.
never know.
Yeah.
Well, they know he's not still, but
He just turned 48.
48. Yeah, if he hit that 50, then you're gonna start looking at replacement.
That's just scary that people have to want it. I guess the next step, not they're gonna try to right, but like.
Well, they'll probably get bought out. If I had to guess.
Oh, you want to put on a cigar?
What was the all that for? Oh, $40 for the larger ones.
Years ago, in days of old, magic in the air. In the darkest depths of the morning, I met a girl so fair. But God, the evil one, crept up and slipped away with her. Yeah.
Careful with his knee.
Stand up. Stand up. No, keep it. Push down with the knee. Push up on top. Yeah. Right now. Follow the knee. You can slide through.
We make USA shirts for busy veterans like Kate. So when her car got hit, she didn't waste any time. She got a plane with the USA app and said, that was easy. USA.
Once you get your head up top, I can't go anywhere. Just sit. Sit. Put the knee through. Knee through. And sit. Sit on my chest, bro. Put the knee through. Sit on my chest. Yes, right there. Right there. I can't go nowhere, so balance. Make a, yeah. Get yourself comfortable. Get a better position. Once you sit, you can go anywhere. Yeah. Bring this back.
Why would you throw a leg in while he's standing up? One leg. You throw a leg.
Oh yeah.
You do that?
Yeah.
You do that?
Well, yeah. If you want to pull me down, I can control his legs. Yeah.
Yeah, but he got off the ground. He had one leg in.
It's time to okay, so once we're here, all right, once you take your hands out, go to just the neck and go to pull. Wait, turn around. All right, be careful, okay? So let go of the leg and get a takedown from the head. Lock here. Look, go straight down and sit. Careful.